Hey guys, it's Wes Clayton with Berkshire Hathaway PenFed Realty in Frisco, Texas. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about knowing your value and about setting and meeting your goals. You know, too often we sell ourselves short because we really don't know what our true value is, and we don't really know how to even determine what our true value is. So what is your value? What value do you bring not only to your life, but what do you bring to your business in general here in real estate? I spend most of my weeks interviewing agents. I've got agents that come in that want to know more about Berkshire Hathaway PenFed Realty. I have other agents that have been in the business for years and years that just want to sit, they want to talk, they may want a little bit of coaching on how do they structure their business, how do they grow their business. When I talk to agents, I've really put them in three different categories. I've got one is going to be a brand new agent. These are agents that either have just gotten their license or some that may be just going to school still and have not gotten their license active yet. They come in saying, Wes, what is my value? Why is there going to be a client that's going to use me over a seasoned, tenured agent? Which is a very valid point and a very good question. Here's the thing, and this is the value they have. They've got that value. Number one, a lot of your new agents are very tech savvy. They know what's going on out there. They know how to work videos. They know how to do these. They know how to market. They know how to run ads on Facebook, on Instagram, and other pieces like this. So they're a little bit more in tune with some of that piece. Number two, guys, they've got the time. They don't have tons of clients that they're going to be working with. These are brand new agents. So you talk about somebody that's a go-getter, that's actually going to go out there and work and push, try to sell that house or try to find a house for that buyer. The new agents have got that. Like I said, they need to get into the business. They're not already swamped a lot of times with the drain of the everyday contracts, conversations, phone calls. They've got that time in order to give to it. They've got the availability to do open houses every weekend. So there's a benefit that a new agent is actually going to bring to the business over a lot of your senior agents. So that's the first agent I normally talk to. Second agent that I normally end up talking to is going to be your tenured agent. This is an agent that's been in the business for several years. At this point, they've kind of already got their business is flowing a little bit. They've got the constant calls. They've got that pipeline going, but really they've kind of plateaued. They're at a point in their career right now where they're trying to decide, do I need an admin? Do I need to partner up with another agent? Do I need to get a buyer's agent? What can I do to get past this plateau that I'm basically stuck at right now? So what there is, when you talk about values, what's their value? Well, their value is time. These are agents who have been in the business. They know the pieces of this business that sitting in the office, doing the paperwork, that don't really have a dollar amount set to it. It's not something that's going to be bringing the business in the door. These are going to be those necessary items of the business that has to be done, but aren't necessarily bringing that income in. So they're at that phase where they're saying, you know what, I may need an admin to run some of that part so that I can be out here doing the parts of the business that are going to drive business in. The other stage that these people are going to be in, another phase of it, is going to be they are to the point right here where they know sometimes it's best to cut a client loose. If you have a buyer that is sitting there that has been a time suck and you're kind of mapping out what's the value of this, if my time is my value, how much time have I spent on this client? Is this truly going to be a client that is going to pan out right now, or is this somebody I need to put back into a drip campaign until they are ready to be there? This stage of an agent, they know when to walk away from a client. They've been able to judge that. They understand that business. The third agent that I really spend time and I interview with is what I call a team agent. These are agents who have probably already brought on an admin, maybe even brought on a marketing team or a buyer's agent, where they're now the team aspect, where they're running it. Well, here's a little bit different when you talk to this agent. They're at a point in their career where their value is more of the rainmaker. They're the ones that need to be out there making their relationships. They're the ones that need to be out there basically as a face to their business because they're bringing the business in to that team. They're not the ones that are going to be sitting in there doing the contracts, working the everyday piece or the everyday puzzles, making every single call to every single client. That's what they have the admin for, things like this. What's interesting though about this stage, when you all of a sudden have the team agent who's senior, they've been in the business, they've grown their business. What's interesting when you start this aspect of it, there's accountability. The hardest part of being self-employed, the hardest part of being basically an agent on your own is going to be accountability. So what happens is now this team agent, more than just self-accountability, they're now going to be accountable to everybody else that's on the team. So it's their job to get out there, drive that business, and bring that business in. So once you can learn that accountability, that's where your business is going to change. My business changed whenever I brought on an admin, because all of a sudden now I had an admin letting me know what appointments I had, also knew what phone calls that I had coming in that I had to call back, be it buyers, be it clients, be it people that just had questions on real estate. So when I came back in the office, she'd ask, did you do it? What did they say? When you called her back, what did she say? There's accountability. All of a sudden I had somebody that I was answering to say, yes, I did do my follow-up. Yes, I did make that phone call and this is where we are. Or, yeah, I lost that listing because of whatever the reason was. Accountability, guys, is huge. It's what makes us step up and makes us do our job. Right now, I've been reading the book. A lot of the management team here and even upper management here at Berkshire Hathaway PenFed, they want us to kind of spend time reading the book. The book we're reading is The 4 Disciplines of Execution by Sean Covey. Great business book. It's a good book as far as you trying to figure out how to meet your goals and what to do. So here's just 4 little things that it brings up in this book talking about not meeting your goals. The reason that most of us don't meet our goals, we aren't sure what the true goal is, right? So all of a sudden I say, you know what? My goal is I want to sell 5 more houses this month. Okay, what is it? Where's the accountability on this piece? How do I know what I'm going to have to do in order to do 2 more houses? There's no measurable function to that. I can say all day long, I want 2 more houses. I want 5 more houses. I want 10 more houses. But if there's not a way for me to measure and actually break down and say what I'm going to do to make this happen, it's really not a goal. It's not a goal. The second thing, we're not committed to it. There's so many times we know what we need to do. I know I need to get out there. I know I need to make these phone calls. I know I need to go make these visits, but we don't, because a lot of times we're not committed. We're really not committed to it. We want to do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Number 3, we don't really know what to do about it specifically. So if I go back and say, okay, remember my plan is to get 2 more houses in a month, I can say that all day long, but if I specifically don't know what I'm going to do to get those houses, which means, you know what, my business is good, but if I only get 2 more, maybe my son, if he's in karate, maybe he's spending a little more time trying to see if I can draw some business from that karate. Do I go visit with them? Do I go talk to that karate school and say, hey, can I get basically a list, email addresses, addresses of people that are also in this class that maybe I can market? That's specific. That's saying this is what I'm going to do to try to actually get to this goal. The 4th thing they say on here, as far as why we do not meet our goals, they weren't accountable. You're not accountable. If you wake up every morning and the only person you are accountable to is yourself, how easy is it to say, you know what, I'm going to get started at 10 o'clock today. I'm going to get started at 11 o'clock today. It's easier at that point to put things off because there's not somebody else there holding you accountable. And a lot of this, again, it goes back to not knowing what your true value is. What is my value for every minute of the day, every hour of the day? Today when I wake up and I've got to go work and I'm trying to draw more business in, I'm trying to get more agents in, what's my value there? For every decision I make, there's a value to it. What's interesting, I don't know if any of y'all shop at Whole Foods or not. We do. I don't like it. I think it's overly priced for what you get. What's crazy is you can't even buy a regular Fruit Loops there. You can't buy cornflakes there. Now they've got stuff that looks like cornflakes or stuff that looks like Cheerios, but it's not. It's some all natural weird stuff, and it costs about 4 or 5 times as much. Anyway, I was shopping there at Whole Foods, going, standing in line at the checkout, just like we always do, just trying to see kind of what was on the shelves beside me. Looked over there beside me. This is what I see. I see this face looking back at me. See that? Burt's Bees. I see this face on there. So as I'm standing there in line, I'm wondering, Burt's Bees, is this just like, is it like McDonald's? Is this somebody they created? Or is there truly a Burt? Who's Burt? Who is Burt on Burt's Bees? And also this was $4 for basically a tube of lip balm. Like I think chapstick's 99 cents, but it's Whole Foods. Anyway, so I said, who's Burt? Well, that kind of interested me. So when I got home, I said, you know what? I'm going to find out, is this guy for real or is this just a marketing gimmick that this company's used to basically sell lip balm? Here's the funny thing, guys. There is a Burt. There is a Burt. This is him. This is what I found out. Here's what's crazy. His name's Bert Chavez. I went on there, looked him up, Googled, who is this guy? What's his story? Does he own Burt's Bees? Is this where his money is? Is this where he got his career from? Well, here's what's interesting. Whenever I first looked at it, Bert Chavez actually passed away several years ago. He passed away, at the point he passed away, he was living in a modified chicken coop with no running water and no electricity. So here's my thinking, okay, the guy, surely if he owns Burt's Bees, if he's part of the Burt's Bees, what happened? What happened? How on earth is he living in an old modified chicken coop with no electricity and no running water? Interesting, let me tell you. Evidently, Bert Chavez, he was an old guy back in North Carolina. He sold honey. All he did for a living is he raised bees and he sold honey. He'd sell it around town, he'd sell it to neighbors, he'd sell it to people that are in the community, sometimes at different fairs, things like that would come to town. That's how he made his money, was selling honey. Well, back in 1984, he was actually driving down the road and he saw this lady hitchhiking. Sees her, so he basically pulls over, lets her in. Her name was Roxanne Quimby. She was actually an artist. She was a local artist. She would make things to sell, flea markets, different things like that, little crafts, arts and fairs crafts. She was also making candles and things like this at the time. Well, as they were driving in the truck, they hit it off. They kind of came to an agreement at that point that he would sell her his excess wax from these bees for her to make candles. And so the business started with them. So now she was using his excess wax to make candles. So over time, what happened was they ended up getting a relationship. They fell in love, ended up getting married. Things were great. Several years later, though, she was looking at an old farmer's almanac from the early 1800s. And in there was actually a recipe on how to make lip balm. What they did, started making lip balm. So began Burt's Bees making lip balm. This was early 90s, late 80s. All of a sudden now, in 1991, they decided to incorporate. So they did. At that point, Bert got 1/3 of the business. Roxanne got 2/3. Why? I don't know. I can only guess that maybe she was involved in the every day-to-day part of the business. He was really maybe just more of a figurehead or a picture on the package. I don't know. But anyway, she got 2/3. He was 1/3. This is in 1991. Business grew. They had moved from lip balm, they went to lotions, they kind of shampoos, different things that they make. In 1999, things changed. In 1999, evidently Bert got in trouble for having an affair with an employee at the company. So at that point, Roxanne and Bert, they did divorce. So Roxanne went to Bert and said, here's the deal, I will buy you out for your 1/3 piece of the business, and she did. So what she did at that point is she went to Bert, said, I'll give you $130,000 for your 1/3 of the business. So $130,000 for your 1/3 of the business. This is in 1999. He went his separate ways. She now became full owner of Burt's Bees. Then in 2004, basically 5 years later, in 2004, she was approached by an investment firm. They said, we want to buy Burt's Bees from you. So what she agreed to do at that time is she would sell 80%. So at that time, she sold 80% of the business to Burt's Bees for $173 million. Not thousand, million. So 5 years before, they had determined that his 1/3 interest was $130,000. 5 years later, 80%, she gets $173 million. I don't know what kind of growth they had here in 5 years. My thinking at this point is that maybe Bert didn't know his value. He didn't know what he was worth. Was his 1/3, obviously his face is still on the packaging. Obviously he didn't know his worth. 5 years later, she sold 80% for $173 million. It doesn't end there. 2007. In 2007, Clorox, which we all know that company, approached basically this investment group and approached Roxanne and said, we want to buy all of Burt's Bees. So at this point, they sold Burt's Bees, the entire company, for $925 million, which means that her 20% at that time was another $231 million. So 231 on top for 173, She got about $400 million for Burt's Bees. That Burt got $130,000. So is this a story? Is this why he was living in an old chicken coop with no water, no electricity? Not really, not really. Because what happened is, once they finally had this final sale and Roxanne was no longer part of Burt's Bees, Burt went to Roxanne and said, hey, I need something. You owe me something. So she did. She gave Burt at that time $4 million. $4 million bucks. So you asked them, if he had $4 million, why was he living in a chicken coop? No electricity, no running water. Well, I think it's probably because he was part crazy. But anyway, probably had money. I think he was just a little eccentric. So here's my thing. Know your value. Know your value. He was obviously told his value, maybe by Roxanne, maybe by her attorneys. I don't know who it was. He didn't know his value. And he had that value there. Guys, also, the best way to determine your value is going to be something that you can measure. It's by making a list. It's by going on there and making goals is what you need to do. You can go online right now, and there's going to be sheet after sheet, there'll be form after form of ways to do your goals. I mean, some of them are pretty. They have nice graphs on it. There's little boxes. It's fantastic. That's not what you do to do your goals. Here's the reason. If you want to make goals, your goals should look just like this. And that's it. That's it. 3 goals. 3 goals. Because here's the deal. All of a sudden, if I come through and I make a list of 15 goals I've got to hit, I've got 10 goals I've got to do today, you know what happens? I don't do any of them. I don't complete any of them because it feels like it's insurmountable. But if I come and say, hey, here's the 3 goals, and they need to be measurable goals. Goals that you can say, hey, I'm going to get 2 houses because I'm going to talk to the karate people today, and if it doesn't work there, I'm going to go talk to the cupcake shop, or I'm going to go talk to the wine shop. I'm going to go somewhere, and this is my goal today. My goal today is visit the wine shop, talk to the owner about business. What can I do? How can we partner? What do I need to do on open houses or anything to partner with you to increase your business and increase my business? Those are your 3 goals. Because what you're going to see is now, all of a sudden, you're going to start hitting your goals. You're going to start solving these issues that before you didn't feel like you could get anything done. Part of this, my son, house we live in is probably about a ½ acre. So when you mow it, it takes a while to do it. If I go to my son and say, hey, Barrett, what I need you to do, if you can kind of go out there, I need it mowed, edged, weed eated, kind of blow it off, stuff like this. It takes a kid 4 hours to do it. He's taking 2 breaks. He's going slow. He just can't get it done. But if I go and say, here's what I need. Can you just go mow the backyard? Just mow the backyard for me. The backyard's mowed in less than an hour. You know why? Because it's a small goal. It's something that he can physically see and know, you know what? This is what I'm looking at, and I can get this done. And he gets it done. But whenever he's got a list here, mow front, mow the back, let's edge it, let's weed eat it, let's blow it, he can't see the end in sight. And so really, a job that should have been done in an hour, hour and a half, ends up taking half the day. Because in his mind, he's thinking, there goes my entire day. And we're the same way with our goals. If we don't sit here and say, you know what, I've got 3 things that I've got to do today in order to hit that goal, we can do those 3 things. And that's why we do it just like this right here. Had a buddy of mine, he used to be an air traffic controller. And so what we did one time, he invited me and a couple of other friends to go with him up here to DFW Airport to basically see what he did. We actually went up in the tower. It was fantastic. It was crazy. But whenever you walked in, there was a huge screen. And there were dots all over this screen. It was airplanes. They had it all the way from like Little Rock up through Oklahoma, even down through the south part of Texas, of all these planes that are just moving, coming in, and things like this. And so I told him, I said, how on earth are you able to watch this? How do you manage it? It would drive me crazy. It would absolutely drive me nuts. And he goes, you don't focus on all these planes. He goes, we never focus on all these planes. He goes, there's only one plane that we focus on and one plane that matters. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, it's the plane that's landing right now. He goes, we focus on one at a time. We don't sit here and try to look at this big, huge picture. We focus on that one plane that's coming in right now, that's landing next. Once we're done with that one, that's when we move to the next one. And that's true. That's true. So if you look at it this way, all of a sudden now what looks insurmountable, which looks like too much to even get completed, is broken down to all of a sudden you're slowly chipping away at that list. It's your goals. And again, it's knowing your value. And guys, your value is going to be your knowledge, it's going to be your time. Here's what's interesting. It's another thing that when I was studying, I kind of read, talking about, because I talked to brand new agents and also some of your senior agents, and they said, Wes, I know the market's great, but there's so many agents here in North Texas. How am I going to get business? And here's the thing. Your competition it's not the other agents. Your competition is not other people. Your competition, it's you. Your competition is procrastination. Whenever there's things that we know we need to get done, items that we can check off today, but we just don't feel like it today. So we put it off. Procrastination is going to be your competition. The other thing, lack of knowledge. Do you know the market now? Do you really know what's going on in the town? If you say Frisco is your town, if you're saying that Flower Mound is your town, do you know it? Do you know the market? Have you studied? Are you up on any of the changes